We're going to be lowering the headsail off. We don't need a winch handle for this bit. We don't need a winch handle in this situation because there's hardly any tension on the front, and the tension is still here. The tension is between the winch and the jammer, which means I can open and close, clutch. I can open and close the clutch without there being any weight on the line. If the line was imparting its weight to the clutch or to the jammer in this area, we would have to grind it on first, make this tight, and then open it. But it's just sitting here, so we can just take this off, nice and carefully take this out. This is going to be a short load. It's going to be a quick bit of weight, and then what comes thereafter is not really very much weight on the line at all. So we can start to remove it. This kind of line, this kind of friction, this kind of weight, we probably only need 1 or 2 turns here. If we were working with a foredeck group here, they'd be starting to pull the sail down, taking it from us. As it's just me alone, I can just start to ease away like this. And then what I do from a solo perspective is once the clew hits the deck, I can then walk forward with this line. That's the great thing with having these winches on the deck. I can just walk up the boat, still controlling the line. Grab a hold of this guy. I'm keeping the top of it away from the boat. I can pull a little bit here and just control the line as it goes around the winch. Just bring it down to the deck. Stand on it, give it a little bend. Pull out some more of this guy. A nice flat day like today, this is very, very easy. If it's a boat's moving around, all of this will be going every which way. You might be down on the deck. And what we might do is, as I can see this line's nice and straight, I can let go of the line. There's 1 turn of friction around the winch, and I can just pull this guy down towards me. And we're going to go about 2 stanchions width for a very particular reason. And we'll be doing this on the open 60 with spinnakers which are 1.5 times the size of a tennis court. So this guy comes down. Now, whenever we're working with halyards on the foredeck and we get it in close by, we want to wrap it underneath our armpit like this, and then we've still got both hands, and if we have to grab onto the boat, we don't lose the sail. We can disconnect the halyard here. Just going to go, yep, hey. That's why we don't tighten them up too much for the purposes of rolling the sail on. Obviously you tighten them up the rest of the time. That's it. Try not to drop it on the deck. Shackle back in and put this at the mast. So you've got these little ties to hold these off. And again, as always, the prudent sailor looks aloft. So once we've done this, we want to make sure that it's not caught around the top spreaders. So had the wind blown the halyard and blown it around the end of the spreaders, and then you weren't noticing, and someone in the cockpit starts to grind on without thinking, they can actually, threaten the stability of the end of the spreader. So let's get this off. Cool. We'll pull up the tension on that, and we can get back to our sail. So when the sail comes down, if it's just coming down for a short period of time, we can leave it plugged in at the front. We don't need to take it off. The best way of having the sail secured to the boat is to have the tack secured. Then whatever you do on the side decks, even if it all comes undone, all your knots are rubbish, it all falls over the side, it's a big wave. If it's attached by the tack, it'll just stream out next to the boat, and it's very easy to get it back on board the boat. Once you make a decision to disconnect the tack from the boat, you better be thinking about how it's going to be attached somewhere else, or really making sure it's secure. Because if that comes off, and then the front of the little bundle that we're going to make, if that starts to lift up and big waves and you're plowing along through of course you're going to stack it to the high side if you can, but then of course they're going to tack and then it's going to be underwater. So always think about the worst case scenario. We're somewhat back off the bow here. I've made it so it's about the length of 2 stanchion positions here, or 3 stanchions in total, but 2 gaps. That means I can lash the back, lash the middle, lash the front of it, and it's totally secure. So we'll give it a bit of a push. You see that the furler is at the bottom, or sorry, the top swivel is at the bottom so it doesn't get thrashed around. Let me get a couple sail ties. Okay, so just for this little sail, I'm going to put 4 sail ties on it. It's a demonstration video. We're trying to show the very best of it. It's absolutely flat calm, like today, and you're at sea. You can almost leave it here. It weighs like 70 kilos. It's not going to blow away. But what it is going to do is it's going to start to just move around a little bit. And the stitching on any kind of sail is proud, right? Sticks up from the surface of the material. And the deck is like sandpaper. So if this has got a little bit of ability, or more particularly this bit, if it's got the ability to do this as you're sailing along, it's just like very slowly getting sandpaper and rubbing it backwards and forwards on the stitching on your sail. And you know, because of the way we flake it, it's going to be the same part of the sail all the time. So if it's going to be on the side deck for any period of time, it should be in a bag. If it's down just quickly and you're doing something else, make sure it's lashed on properly. So I've got 3 sail ties here. We can firstly get the back of it on. And like any sail tie situation, I'm snugging it down tight. We take a loop, double it through, make a little thumb knot like that. If it's really going to be here just for 2 minutes, that's enough. If it's going to be here for any period of time, take another one, double it around the back. That's as good as gold now. The good thing about that as well is you just create a handhold on the side deck that'll hold a person if you need to. Do a couple more of those. See, I haven't unplugged it from the front yet, it's just here. The furler is very close to this tie-on point. And remember, you could be doing this on the, if they tack during this maneuver, you could be doing this sat down on the deck, which you might want to go for stuff like this, putting your feet up here, obviously you'd be clipped on, or what you could do here is tuck it underneath your feet as you're going, get it under, and then your feet make the room, just shove the sail tie underneath. If you start putting your feet too high and you make a mistake, your feet can end up going off the side of the boat. Also, you're putting a lot of leverage on the top of the stanchions, which are strong, but you're asking for trouble if you're putting your feet up here and you weigh 200 pounds. So staying lower down, I've still got good stability here. I've got lots of contact with the deck. Obviously, in a real world situation, I have my life jacket on. I'd be clipped onto the jack stay, or more likely onto the jack stay on the high side, so I really can't fall. But thinking about staying low is much better than getting your feet up high. So tuck this guy underneath here. Cool. Yeah, this is about as difficult as it see. All right, move my body a little bit so I can show you what I'm doing. Again, around the base of the stanchion and put a sail tie little hitch in here. Snug it all together. If you want to get it real tight, you can pre-make up the knot and then pull in the last of the slack. Pin it with your finger, tension it out. Okay, next one. All right, so something like this. And what can happen in this kind of situation is you start going, well, it must be done exactly like this. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. It just has to have these kind of characteristics. The sail is secure. It was secure all the way through this whole process. It's secure now. We could work on it. Big wave comes over. The sail's still here. It's attached by the tack and it's attached on the side deck.